A tiny row of interlocking teeth, a small metal slider, a soft, satisfying zip. That's it. That's all a zipper is. You have them on your jeans, your jacket, your backpack, your suitcase. You probably pulled one up this morning without a single thought. The zipper is one of the most elegant, most reliable, and most invisible inventions in human history. You never think about it until it breaks. And then it's all you can think about. But here's what you do not know. The zipper took more than 60 years, 3 different inventors, and 5 separate patents just to become what it is today. It was rejected, mocked, and ignored. And when it was finally ready for the world, when it was finally perfected, it was met with outrage, moral outrage, because the zipper, unlike the humble button, made clothing easy to remove. And to the moral guardians of the early 20th century, that was a scandal, a threat, a gateway to sin. This is the story of the fastener that took a century to be born, that survived ridicule, grief, and a full-blown moral panic, and that now holds the entire world together, one quiet zip at a time. This is the story of the zipper. The year is 1851. An American inventor named Elias Howe is already famous. He has given the world the sewing machine, a device that is revolutionizing the entire garment industry. But Howe's mind does not stop. He looks at the clothing people wear every day, and he sees an inefficiency. Buttons are slow, laces are tedious, hooks and eyes are fiddly. There has to be a better way to close fabric. So Elias Howe sits down and designs something he calls the automatic continuous clothing closure. It is a series of clasps that run along the edge of a garment, pulled together by a cord. It is rough, it is primitive, but the central idea, a continuous slide-operated fastener, is there. Howe receives a patent, and then he does absolutely nothing with it. He is too busy. The sewing machine is making him rich. The world is beating down his door for his existing invention. Why would he waste time on a strange little closure device that nobody asked for? So the patent sits in a drawer. It gathers dust, and the greatest fastening idea in human history is abandoned before it ever takes its first breath. Elias Howe had the zipper in his hands, and he walked away. The idea would lie dormant for more than 40 years. Jump forward to Chicago, 1893. The world's Columbian Exposition is in full swing. Millions of visitors are flooding the fairgrounds, marveling at the wonders of the age. Electricity, the Ferris wheel, moving walkways, and somewhere among the dazzling displays, a man named Whitcomb Judson is showing off something far less glamorous. He calls it the clasp locker. Judson is a mechanical engineer from Chicago with a restless, inventive mind. He has already patented a pneumatic street railway, but now he has turned his attention to shoes, specifically the maddening task of lacing up high boots, which, in the 1890s, can have up to 40 sets of eyelets. Fastening a pair of boots can take 15 minutes. Judson thinks this is absurd. His solution is the clasp locker, 2 rows of metal hooks and eyes that are pulled together by a sliding guide. It is complicated, it is heavy, and it frequently jams. The clasp locker makes its debut at the World's Fair, and the world shrugs. Nobody cares. Judson forms a company to manufacture it, but sales are dismal. The device is too unreliable. It pops open without warning. It is harder to use than the laces it is supposed to replace. The clasp locker limps along for years, a commercial failure. Another good idea that doesn't quite work. Whitcomb Judson dies in 1909, never knowing that his clumsy invention would one day change the world. Enter Gideon Sundback. A Swedish-American electrical engineer, Sundback is hired by the struggling fastener company to fix the clasp locker. He is brilliant, meticulous, and deeply private. He looks at Judson's design and immediately sees the problem. Too few fastening points. The hooks and eyes are too far apart. The device can't hold. Sundback begins experimenting. He increases the number of teeth. He shrinks them down. He designs them to interlock, not just hook together, but truly lock into each other, tooth by tooth, forming a continuous, unbreakable seam. And then he creates the slider, a Y-shaped channel that guides the teeth together with a single smooth motion. But Sundback is not just an engineer at a workbench. He is a man in mourning. In 1911, his wife dies. Sundback is devastated. He throws himself into his work with a kind of desperate intensity. Grief becomes obsession. Obsession becomes perfection. By December of 1913, Sundback has created a new device he calls the hookless fastener. It has interlocking metal scoops. It has a slider that works smoothly. It does not jam. It does not pop open. It is, in every meaningful way, the modern zipper. He files the patent in 1914. It is granted in 1917. The hookless fastener begins appearing on money belts for soldiers in World War I. It appears on tobacco pouches. It appears on boots for the U.S. Navy. It works. It is reliable. It is strong. But it is still trapped in the margins of industry. No one has yet imagined putting it on everyday clothing. And when they finally do, when the zipper begins its slow creep from military gear to civilian fashion, something unexpected happens. The world pushes back, hard. Because the zipper, you see, was dangerous. Not mechanically dangerous, morally dangerous. In the 1920s and 1930s, clothing was fastened with buttons. Buttons took time. Buttons required patience. Buttons were a small, deliberate act, each one a tiny commitment to staying dressed. The zipper changed that. With a single pull, an entire garment could be opened in under a second. And for the moral guardians of the era, that speed was the problem. If clothes could be removed so quickly, they argued, what was to stop immoral behavior? What was to stop impatience? What was to stop passion? The zipper, they declared, was an invitation to sin. It was especially dangerous on women's clothing. A dress with a zipper, they warned, was a dress that could come off before a young woman had time to reconsider her choices. The zipper was fast, and fast was indecent. For years, zippers were restricted almost entirely to men's clothing. Men were presumed to have self-control. Women, apparently, could not be trusted with convenience. Fashion magazines debated the morality of the new fastener. Critics described it as scandalous. Clergymen warned against it from the pulpit. The zipper was not just a new piece of hardware, it was a cultural battleground. It took a world war to change the conversation. During World War II, every ounce of fabric, every scrap of metal, every second of production time mattered. Buttons were slow to manufacture and slow to sew on. Zippers were faster. They saved time, saved labor, saved material. Practicality overwhelmed prudishness. The zipper went to war and came home victorious. And the name? That came earlier, in 1923. The B.F. Goodrich Company decided to use Sundback's fastener on a new line of rubber overshoes. When the slider moved along the track, it made a distinctive sound, zip. The company trademarked the name Zipper, and suddenly, the hookless fastener had a name that actually stuck. Onomatopoeia, poetry, the sound of closure itself. From that point forward, the zipper was unstoppable. It conquered trousers, skirts, jackets, luggage, upholstery, tents, spacesuits. It became so universal that it is now measured by the mile. The YKK factory in Japan alone produces enough zippers every year to circle the Earth. The device that Elias Howe abandoned in 1851, that Whitcomb Judson bungled in 1893, that Gideon Sundback perfected through grief in 1913. That device now holds the modern world together, one quiet, invisible zip at a time. The next time you pull up a zipper, listen to the sound. That soft, rapid zip is the sound of a century of failure, loss, and improbable triumph. It is the sound of an idea that was abandoned, mocked, and feared, and that somehow, against all odds, became indispensable. The zipper is a reminder that even the smallest things in our lives carry enormous histories. It is a reminder that innovation is rarely a straight line, and it is a reminder that moral panics, in the end, almost never win. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden history behind the ordinary objects that surround us, please like and subscribe for more object lore. I'll see you in the next one.